What is up, everyone? Welcome to the 20 Podcast, brought to you by Beatsource. I'm your host, DJ Spider.
DJ Spider!
That's right. What is going on? Thank you guys for tuning in week after week. We're on episode 130. We're about 3 years deep. I mean, we must be right around our 3-year anniversary, so it's just pretty mind-blowing to me. We started October 2019, and we're still doing it and couldn't be doing it without you guys, the listeners. So thank you. Thank you to everyone coming out to my gigs and stuff. I will be in Dallas on October 28th and the 29th, 2 different places. Check my site, my IG for more info. I'll be out in Nashville and Vegas and a bunch of places. So thank you to everyone coming through to the gigs and supporting and all that stuff. Make sure you hit my Instagram at DJ Spider, DJ SPIDER. Get all the info on there, guys, and build up my TikTok and all that stuff. Hit me. Make sure you rate and review the show on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. Give us a thumbs up on YouTube. Thank you guys for spreading the word and listening, watching. Really appreciate it. You guys, got to tell you about our guest. We got an amazing guest, as we always do every week, week after week. We bring you the greatest people for you to learn from, to be inspired from, and this is no different. On today's show, we've got someone that took their dreams and made it a reality, literally. I mean, the way he tells this story is incredible, and it's going to be inspirational to everyone listening. There's no question about it. He's the new full-time DJ every single morning, 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. on Big Boy's Neighborhood, which is one of the biggest radio shows in all of morning radio nationwide. It's a legendary show in the Los Angeles radio market, where I grew up listening to it, and so did everybody else. And Big Boy himself is a legend. So he just started on there a few months ago. The story of how he got there, like I said, is incredible. I can't wait for you guys to hear it. And he's not only that, he's one of the dopest all-around technical DJs. And he's really dope at mixing. He's really dope at everything else. But, man, his technical skills are next level, and he makes it look so easy. Like, you know, I'm sure if you see his videos online, you would agree. He also is really dope at doing remixes and edits. Does them for DJcity, as well as he does the new and notable mix for DJcity, which is all the new music that comes out. He mixes it together in a quick mix style, shows you what's up. We discuss his passion for music production, which is already taking him places and is going to take him so many more in the future. We discuss his goals for that and so much more. So please welcome to the show, DJ Kwest. We have got DJ Kwest on the podcast. Make some noise.
Thank you, brother. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you for coming. Thank you for not taking a nap right now. And
the couches look real comfy outside.
I know you're being tempted to go because your new position as the full-time DJ on Big Boy's Neighborhood.
Yeah, such a blessing.
Yeah, on 92.3 in LA. You know, one of the biggest morning shows in radio history. Yeah. I mean, I think, right?
Yeah, I grew up idolizing that morning show.
So amazing. Congratulations to you.
Thank you so much.
Such a huge accomplishment. And, you know, we were talking earlier and I was like, who were the other 2 DJs before you? And there's only been 2. It's E-Man and Vic, and like 2 of the most insanely dope DJs, you know? Yeah. So for you to be in that lineage, I feel like it's only right, and it's so cool, and I'm so happy for you.
It's a blessing. It's, you know,
yeah, to
be number 3 and over a span of what, like 20 plus years.
Yeah, I mean, crazy. I must have been I'm old, you know, we talked about this. And like I must have been, you know, high school, I don't know, listening to E-Man, or I don't know how old, but a long time ago, 20 years ago or something, right? Like listening to E-Man cut it up and just being so perfect. I was telling you how the first time I met him, I was like, yo, man, like, I don't know what I said exactly, but something just about like, I don't think I'll ever be as perfect, you know, as you on cutting and mixing and blending. And, you know, you sound like a machine, but like in a good way, you know, it's incredible.
Yeah. His mixing, when I first started DJing, I used to listen all the time to Big Boy's Neighborhood.
Yeah.
And his mixing was one of the things that I always noticed. I always was like, I need to perfect mixing, not scratching, because a lot of DJs that want to be dope, they just want to cut and like perfect cutting, and that's cool and everything. Right. But his mixing was key.
Yeah.
Super dope, super clever. So like true. He would do clever wordplay routines on air.
Yeah.
And it's just
That's what I would notice, because I remember it was even the vinyl days, and we would try to adjust the mixes by like holding the middle of the turntable or touching the side.
Yeah.
And mine would always have those moments of like going in and out of being right, and his were so spot on that I was like, how are you doing that, man?
He's a wizard. Yeah.
Pre-sync, mode or any of that stuff. So that's incredible. Well, congrats. And then I know, it's every morning on 92.3 in LA, but it's also syndicated as well.
It's syndicated nationwide. Yeah.
And it's 7 a.m. to 11 a.m.
Yeah.
So
5 to 11, but then we're on 7 to 11, yeah.
It's 5 to 11, the show.
Yeah.
You guys are on 7 to 11 mixing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. So are you used to getting up that early or living that morning life? Sometimes people come on and they're like, look, I've been in radio forever. I was getting up that early, or I'm a morning person. But I know I'm not a morning person. That sounds like the hardest thing of my life. So, yeah, how is it for you?
I am absolutely not a morning. I mean, I'm converting now.
Yes, but you have to.
I was so used to just staying up, doing work at night. I feel like I work better at night. I get more creative, inspired at night.
Yeah.
So the time that I'm waking up now, that's the time that I would be going to sleep.
Oh my God.
So my body's still like, hey, what's going on? Or, I'll try to go to bed early, and my brain's like, hey, it's not time to go to bed yet. What are you doing?
Right.
And I just have to force myself to go to bed. And I'll still wake up tired.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's like, I don't know. Do you drink coffee or anything?
Not at all.
Have you tried? Maybe you need to.
So I tried drinking
Not trying to get
coffee.
you addicted to things.
I tried when I was younger, and it just makes me really like anxious and antsy. And
that's true.
I feel like I would rather be tired than thinking I'm having a heart attack on mid-set.
Okay.
I know that's excessive, but I get like super antsy. I can't drink Red Bull. I can't.
Same. I can't do it. Yeah. All right. Well, how long has it been going on? Like, how long have you been on the schedule?
I started in June.
Okay.
So you've had a few months of it. Yeah.
Oh man, your body really needs to let you catch up.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So every day, and then so you really must cherish Saturday and Sunday now.
I do. Yeah, I've started actually, because this year I've been really busy. And I was working Friday, Saturday, sometimes Sundays, DJing.
Yeah.
And now I'm very like, nope, I'm DJing one night a weekend.
That's what I was going to say. Are you taking a weekend gig at this point?
I'm taking one night at most. Right. And then sometimes I'll even take the whole weekend. It's
Wow. How does it feel, though, to be done at 11 a.m.? Like before noon, you've just DJ'd a 4-hour set to millions of people.
It's amazing. You get to go home and take a nap.
Yeah. Your son isn't even out of school yet.
Exactly.
You're just like, okay.
It's like, it kind of works out because I get home in time to take like a 2-hour nap and then go pick him up. And then it's kind of like, oh, I still have the rest of my day.
Yes.
It's perfect.
That actually is really good.
It's kind of a blessing.
Yeah. Because we were talking, you have a 9-year-old son, right?
I do.
I got a 9. He'll be 10 probably when this episode comes out. But DJ dad life, shout out to all the DJ parents out there.
Holding it down.
It's hard, We had Lady Shaw a couple weeks ago. She's a DJ mom, like that's hard. That seems almost harder in a way, like or more is expected of them,
It's tough. It's tough to make time.
To be like, all right, we'll be back.
Yeah, that's exactly what I do. I'll be like, all right, I'll see you tomorrow, pretty much. Like when I'm DJing on a weekend.
Yeah,
see you tomorrow.
Right.
And but it's a blessing though. Also, it's nice to come home and have somebody that looks up to you. And
oh my God,
yeah,
it's the best. I love being a dad. Like, does your son want to DJ at all? Or?
Absolutely not.
Same. Absolutely not.
I've asked him so many times, and
Me too.
And like we were talking about earlier, like how the influences are, and he got super into Marshmello, and so I bought him the Marshmello helmet, and he was like imitating DJing, and I like this is when he was at the peak of like I'm into Marshmello, and I asked him, do you want to be a DJ? Nope.
Right.
I was like,
that's so funny.
Come on, man. But it is what it is,
Right. I mean, they're into what they're into. Yeah. And the same way we're into what we're into,
Exactly.
I mean, it's not like my dad was a DJ, so.
Same, yes.
It's very, my life is so different from what my parents were doing in a way. So it has some similarities, but like definitely not. So yeah, same thing. And I said later, I'm like, look, you're going to have to get some kind of job to make extra money later. So you might want to do this one. It's kind of cool.
Yeah. Easy money and good money.
Yeah, we can teach
if
you
you're
the
good,
basics.
of course.
But I know you see those kids like they're posting on DJcity's Instagram. They're like 8 years old doing insane things. I'm like,
Bro,
no, my kid's not doing that.
It's ridiculous. We only had 8-track. Back then, he was, and even then you were amazed, like, oh yeah. And now you have little 6-year-olds, 7-year-olds just killing it,
right?
Doing stuff that a lot of DJs that I know can't do.
Oh yeah, I know.
It's
because they've learned in such a different way. That's crazy. So speaking of coming up and learning, like, how did you? I want to talk about, the way you came up learning to DJ and then your path into where you are today with radio. But where did you grow up and how did you get into DJing?
So I grew up in Orange County,
okay,
Tustin to be exact.
Okay, Tustin.
I had no DJ friends, but I grew up always listening to music.
Okay.
I loved hip hop since I was a kid. I used to love Eminem, like back in 2000 through 2003.
Yeah.
Had my hair dyed blonde. So I was like super into, 50 Cent, Dr. Dre, all of that. So I was really into music growing up. Mm-hmm. Then in high school, I got really into like hip hop.
Right.
More so East Coast hip hop.
Like old school kind of.
Yeah, like, the Tribe Called Quest, Big L, Biggie, Big Daddy Kane. And for somebody my age, that's not really a common thing.
Right, you're saying you're 28 years old.
Yeah.
So it is always interesting to me, like, how people get into that music that I, in a way, grew up on, or I had to learn from. Some of it was old school to me, but a lot of it was, like, at the time. And so I wonder, like, how people your age, get into that.
Well, it's funny. I was saying how my son got into certain things because of video games.
Yeah.
I got into like the East Coast hip hop because of NBA Street Volume 2.
Oh.
They had
that's so interesting.
What was it?
Wow.
Chief Rocka.
Yeah.
And they had Troy, Pete Rock, and CL Smooth.
Yeah.
I was like, these two songs, like the beats alone, I was like, these are two of the best produced songs I've ever heard.
Right.
And just from there, it took off. And I found like a whole, because back then I only really listened to like the West Coast stuff.
Right.
I wasn't exposed to East Coast music.
Yeah.
And then it just like, I fell in love with like the Premier and the Gangstar. And
so dope.
It was, man.
The drums, I feel like, is just so different.
It's different. And then just like the sampling out there is a lot different too.
Yeah.
Like the melodies and the little samples that they take. It's just,
right.
I felt like I fell in love with hip hop again.
Yeah.
Like
in a different way.
I don't only have this, now I got this over here. That's super dope as well.
Yeah.
And then that kind of brought me closer to music.
That's so cool. Right. And then you start learning about the sampling and jazz and funk and all the things behind it. And that's the beauty of hip hop and delving into the old school sides of hip hop, I guess,
Yeah.
And so you had no DJ friends. Like, how did you get into DJing after just listening to music?
You're gonna laugh. So one summer I was working at the swap meet.
Yeah.
Just trying to make, like you said, some extra money.
Right.
And one of my mom's friends, she had a son about my age, and she had just bought him like a DJ controller.
Right.
So my mom was like, "Why don't you become a DJ?" And I didn't have the first clue about DJing. Yeah. I knew who like Jazzy Jeff was because of Fresh Prince.
Right.
But I didn't really know DJing much. So I actually owned DJ Hero.
Oh, yes.
And I loved it. I loved like, the cuts and the blends and all that. So one day I'm on YouTube and I'm like looking stuff up and I fall down a rabbit hole and I stumble upon DJ Blakey. He created a lot of the routines for the game.
Right.
And he, there was a mashup that he did. I think it was like the funk and like a ODB track. And he did it live.
Oh, okay.
And I was hooked.
Wow.
I was like,
where mesmerized. Did you see like a video of him?
Yeah, it was on YouTube.
Right. He's amazing. He works for Serato.
Yeah.
And he's the Serato, I think, UK rep. As well as he did all the cuts in the Spider-Man movie, the multiverse one, right?
Yeah.
So they took the music from the composer and he's doing cuts and he's scratching it up and so dope.
Such a genius.
And he's been doing cool new even tutorial videos I've been seeing on TikTok lately. of just like, I bet you didn't know this about Serato or something like that. And there was a couple things I was like, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's a genius. And
and he's so ill, like so clean and perfect on the cut.
Oh man, he's a beast.
Right.
And when I saw that, I fell in love with it. And I was like, I have to learn how to do that.
That's so cool. Do you know him? Have you ever been in touch with him? Or?
I actually met him at NAMM.
Oh, dope. Last year?
I met him, I think it was 2019.
Oh, okay.
And I got to tell him.
I was going to say, does he know?
Man,
That's so cool.
Like the first thing, I don't get starstruck very easily. Like, and with him, I was like,
right.
Like,
well, when it's someone that's so special that you looked at in such a way, I totally understand.
I told him, I was like, you're the reason why I started DJing. I explained to him like the game, because what are the odds of that? Like everybody usually like they know somebody, a family member, a friend. Right. I just got into it because of a video game and you know, doing a little bit of research on YouTube and you know, he loved it, and he, you know, we took a picture. He actually gave me his like business card. He's like, hit me up, or like the Serato one. And he's like, you know, hit me up if you ever, or you're ever in the UK. And I'm like, okay. I was like,
that's so cool.
This is so dope. Super dope.
Okay. Amazing. So you kind of, and then what equipment did you get, or how did you then just start DJing actually?
So I pretty much failed, and because I knew nothing. So I got a controller. Okay. And it was, I think it was like an American Audio VMS4, if I'm correct.
Okay. And this is what, like 10 years ago?
2010.
Okay.
So 12 years ago. Okay. I think 12 years ago this month, actually.
Look how much you've progressed.
So I got that controller,
crazy.
And
I think I've gotten worse since 12 years ago.
I learned fairly quickly that I could not do like the things that I wanted to do on
with
a
that
controller.
Equipment.
Yeah. And we're not talking about like, even I know that now we have like the Rev 7, but you know, like now what is it, the SRT 1000? Even though it's not like a spinning platter, right? It's still like a CDJ. Yeah. Back then, the little platters, they were small. They were, you know,
right. You're just like, okay, here we go.
So, you know, I kind of took the L on that, but I used that to learn how to mix well. Okay. You know, I
played into your mixing, which is what you want to do, you know, eventually with the E-Man thing anyway. Yeah. So everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
That's funny cool. Enough. Okay. So you started off on that controller. I don't even know what that one is.
Yeah.
But, you got to start somewhere, and then just sort of started to learn and realize you wanted to level up in certain ways, and you had to save up for other equipment and stuff.
Yeah. So what I actually did, because thankfully that controller had the option to like add a turntable to it, and then you can control.
So you could use it as a mixer.
Yeah, but so that controller was only for virtual DJ, not Serato.
Got it.
So I was stuck using virtual DJ. Yeah. But thankfully I could, like I said, connect a turntable to it. So I had one turntable, and that's how I started learning like the not to scratch, but just kind of how to mix with a turntable that's actually spinning. And I think I had like a Newmark belt drive, you know, terrible turntable, but got the job done, and it taught me the basics of mixing.
Right. Crazy. So cool. And then, how did you level up to like get to the point where you could practice scratching? Because like your scratches are some of the cleanest and dopest I've heard. Like
thank you
around.
So
period. You know, like you're so, you make it look very easy. You know, you seem real chill in your videos, and just your technical ability. Like, I think someone that doesn't know might look and just go, oh yeah, he's good. But like people that do know are like, holy shit, he's doing all these different techniques, and it's, you know, coming off real clean and good.
Around the area where I live, there was a pawn shop. And for some reason, to this day, I'm a very curious person. Like, I like to go and explore and see what I can find. Yeah. So I would go and check this pawn shop out from time to time, and I saw that they had a mixer, and I still didn't know anything about mixers. The only mixer that I knew, I think, was the 56 at the time. I don't even think the 57 was out.
Right.
So I saw this. It was a Vestax PMC 03. Mm-hmm. Like, it didn't even have a cut. It was just like a straight like mix fader.
Right. Okay.
So I was like, how much? I think they were like, oh, $20. I was like, cool. Boom. Took the mixer home. Now I got to find a Serato box. You know, at the time, we didn't have the mixers with the built-in Serato, and the only one was the 57. So I, went on Craigslist, and I struggled, and finally I got one, because at the time they were selling them for like $400, something outrageous.
Yeah, they were a lot.
So I found one for like $150, because that's what I could afford at the time, and I bought it, and it just started from there. I remember I wouldn't even practice like a certain scratch pattern. I would just like tap the fader and try to make noise.
Right.
Like I didn't know what I was doing, but I was like, this is the coolest thing ever.
Yeah. Yeah, same. I mean, I remember learning to scratch like that too. I had no DJ friends really, and there was no YouTube, but I would just, try to make sounds, anything just to figure it out. And then slowly but surely I learned how to do this and that and what was happening. So that's a good way to do it. And then what would you watch, like videos of people, or I mean, because you definitely have a lot of techniques where you're like, oh shit, what he's doing this into this into this.
Yeah. So so I stumbled upon, again, like rabbit hole, I stumbled upon a DMC set by DJ Scully from the UK.
Oh, okay.
And again, that like motivated me again. Like, this is so dope. I want to do this. I want to like be a hip hop DJ. Because at the time, like, we had like the LMFAO. It was more like up tempo, EDM-y stuff.
Yes.
So that kind of like put a spark under me, and I was like, all right, I need to focus on like hip hop, and I want to learn how to scratch properly. So I went to Sam Ash, and I bought like this new, I think it was like a Stanton mixer. All I wanted was a mixer that had a cut. I didn't care what brand it was, so I got this Stanton mixer, which I still have to this day. That was the mixer I learned all my scratch techniques on, or patterns. And I stumbled on DJ Angelo.
Oh, okay.
And so I watched his videos, like how to chirp, how to transform, how to crab, how to, boomerang, flare. And I would dissect those videos and just practice for hours and hours and hours until I got a pattern down properly.
Right. Dope. That's how you have to do it.
Yeah,
like,
there's no way around it.
No,
people
just
ask
muscle
all the time.
memory, practice, time. There's no shortcut at all.
Yeah, no.
That's super dope. And then, did you start to develop like goals of like what you wanted to do with the DJing, or go to clubs, or be on the radio, or like look up to different DJs?
Yeah, so around this time, this was maybe like 2011. I kind of, because I started late 2010.
Yeah.
So I kind of picked everything up quickly.
Yeah.
So this is like 2011. At the time, I was helping my mom clean houses. So we would drive around the city, and of course, Big Boy's neighborhood.
Yeah.
So I would tune in every day. That's what was on. Listening to E-Man, listening to Big, and I was just like, man, this is so dope. So dope that a DJ is, providing the soundtrack to one of the biggest morning shows in the country.
Right.
It's not like a normal talk show where it's just dead air and just a person talking. So I just kind of like dissected his mixing, and then as soon as we would finish working, I would go straight home, and I would pretend like I was on air. I would sometimes even like record the radio and rip like sweepers to, load into the sampler, and just like pretend like I'm mixing on air, put a instrumental, hit a sweeper just to kind of like, oh, I'm on air.
Right.
And I would record my sets so I can, see what I needed to work on.
Yeah.
Like, did I mix this in properly? Did I, scratch this in the right way? And yeah, man.
That's crazy. That's nuts that you were thinking like that back then and listening to the radio like that.
I fell in love with it. I knew that I wanted to be a full-time on-air DJ.
Right. So you just sort of had that goal solidified in your head at that point, and then just was sort of on your journey to do that. So then how did you, well, before I ask this, how does your mom feel now that you're on that station? Like,
it's kind of like full circle. Like even for her, because one of the things that she knows the most or recognizes the most is the phone taps.
Right.
So, it's kind of crazy. That's something that we shared because we were together listening to it together.
That's what I'm saying. It must be so special.
It's nuts. Yeah, she's super stoked about it, and it's just full circle.
That's crazy.
I couldn't have ever dreamed this to happen.
Right.
Like we said, it's been only two other DJs.
Yeah.
What are the odds that a position even opens up.
And a lot of radio or entertainment jobs, I mean, not to be morbid, people have to die for you to get the job.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or somehow go to another place, that. But for the most part, a lot of times they're there forever,
Yeah. Nobody wants to let go.
No.
So that's why, to me, like, I knew I wanted to be an on-air DJ full time, but I never said, like, I want to DJ for Big Boy's Neighborhood.
Right.
Because I never envisioned that an opening would come.
So then what was your first experience with radio or actually any professional DJing at that, even club, party, whatever?
Okay, so I was doing house parties through all of this. Yeah.
Okay, so you immediately were like, yo, I got the stuff. Let's do this.
Yeah, because like I said,
with your homies or whatever.
We didn't have any DJ friends, so I was the one DJ friend.
Of course.
And so I was the one to DJ the parties, and people would have kickbacks here and kickbacks there. Yeah. And at the time, like, I wasn't charging money, but it was good experience to, learn how to read a crowd and just to go out there, because I was fairly nervous to, sometimes I would have panic attacks, but I kind of learned how to power through that just by those early gigs, that was my compensation.
Yeah,
was the experience and the learning how to get over those fears of what is it, stage fright.
Yeah, really good way to look at it and explain it. Do you get that feeling before you go on the radio now?
No,
really.
Thankfully, no.
Yeah, thankfully, no.
Yeah, because I know people that, to this day, they've been DJing for 20 years, and they tell me, I get nervous.
Yeah.
And thankfully, I think I've developed, it's not that I don't care, because I care a lot,
know that.
But I'm just very, I know what I'm doing.
Right.
I try to stay calm.
Right. Do they give you, is it also because you're very prepared before you go in every morning in terms of, what you can play, scratch, not play, or I don't know.
Yeah, I know what I can and can't do, but...
And how much does that change? Do they tell you every morning, yo, this is what's happening with the rotations? Or
so, we, I'm sure every radio station, we have a mix show list that we have to kind of base our mixing off of.
Right.
So I just take whatever songs we are forced to play, and then I add my own little spice to everything. Okay. I try to always, change it up, because especially now being on every day,
right?
People are going to be like, damn, this dude's mixing the same song with this song. And, you
have a small selection too.
You have to be creative. Right. So I try my best to every day just not necessarily come up with a wordplay routine or this or that, but just, how does this song blend with this song? And just try to mix it up, do something different.
Yeah.
Just to keep it fresh.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, no, I know. I hear you're good at taking that too, and you'll take an older one and mix it with the newer one, and crazy. And so okay, so to go back then, how did you end up getting into radio then? You were doing the house parties and doing all that. How did it then eventually get to?
So there was a big gap. I got on radio in 2016.
Okay.
Before 2016, I was actually featured on the Jump Off mix, and that was thanks to Fuse.
Okay.
So I would.
And both you and Fuse, just so people probably know, but if not, check out DJcity's Instagram and TikTok and YouTube and all their stuff. You guys both do mix series for DJcity as well, right? And Beatsource, where he does the 20-year review, where he'll take a track from 20 years ago and then a track from now and mix them together and relate it. And you do the new and notable ones, right?
Yeah.
Where you'll take all the new tracks that came out and mix them together and kind of show what could be done in a few minutes or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
So everyone peep that if you haven't already. So Fuse co-signed you or helped you get in with somebody?
So let's back up a little bit. But so I met Fuse at Power.
Okay.
So I actually met Louis G, who I work with now, full circle. This is crazy. So I met Louis. I did a DJ battle. It was like a Dave & Buster's DJ battle thing. And he so happened to be there. And I was like, yo, what's up, brother? Said what's up, introduced myself, and he invited me to a morning event that they were having at the station.
Okay.
So I was like, of course I'll be there. I want to get my foot in somehow.
Yeah.
So I went, and it wasn't really my thing, to be in the studio, but Fuse was covering for E-Man.
Oh, okay.
So I tweeted Fuse And he was like, oh, come inside. So I go into the mix room and I introduce myself and we meet. And ever since then, like, he's been such a great friend.
Yeah.
And he was like, if you need anything, like, hit me up. So I just started bugging him and I would send him demos and like, can you get this to this person or that person or whoever can, try to get me into power at the time. And at that time, the jump off mixes were huge.
Yeah.
That was what you wanted to be on.
Right.
They had the biggest DJs across the country. They had the Chris Villas, Jay Espinozas, Dynamics. So I aimed for that. I bugged, and I think it was like 2014. I finally got on the jump off mix. Nice. I accomplished that. And then I was like, I want more. Like, this isn't enough. So then, fast forward to like 2016, I'm still practicing, like, to try to be on air. I get an opportunity to do a guest mix for 99.1 KGGI in Riverside. Mm-hmm. So I do that mix, and the PD calls me, and he's like, this is the best mix I've had turned in. And he's like, are you interested in, like, joining to be on air, like, on weekends? I was like, hell yeah.
And wait, was it a contest or something? Or?
No. So at the time,
you just got an opportunity to send the mix to the program director?
Yeah, so at the time they were doing a Tuesday guest slot at night.
Oh, okay.
It was like a 20-minute mix. It was I think it was called the 820 quick mix.
Okay.
So they were looking for guest DJs, and DJ Seth hit me up. He's a homie.
Right.
Shout out DJ Seth. He hit me up and he's like, yo, would you be interested? I was like, hell yeah. So I did the mix and yeah, the PD hit me up and he was like, hey man, I love your mix. Would you like to be on air? And I said, yeah, of course I would. So it started with like a Saturday 1 hour slot that turned into a Saturday 2 hour slot. And then I got added to the Monday traffic mix at 5. And then, yeah, I did that for 6 years. Yeah.
Wow. Oh, at that Riverside station.
Yeah, KGGI.
Okay. So you basically put in mad work, learned actually how to be on radio and what it was like.
Yeah, that taught me how to program, how to just mix even cleaner than I had already practiced to be.
Right.
Because it's different, like to mix at home and then to, you're in a room mixing, but then you think you're like, there's people out there listening to me.
Yeah.
I have to be almost perfect.
Right.
And especially, how DJs are, we're critical of ourselves. Yeah. Like maybe somebody else won't notice, but any little thing that we mess up on, we're like, oh man.
Yeah.
I
100%.
Yeah.
Of course.
So that taught me how to master the craft of DJing on air.
Right.
At least for that. Because, DJing for Big Boys Neighborhood, that's different. There's a lot of like, talk breaks and so.
And segments and things like that. No, it's like a variety show. I mean, there's just things, and just working with him and his personality, I'm sure is great. And so then where did it go from there? Like you ended up, so you had some connection with Eddie Boy or something, or like from the Riverside station to like then getting in with the big boy, or is that through Fuse?
That was through Fuse.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that happened this year. That happened
amazing
2022, and again full circle. When I used to work with my mom, we used to obviously always eat breakfast together, but we wouldn't eat healthy breakfast. We were on the go.
Yeah.
So our spots were like McDonald's and Del Taco.
Right.
So funny enough, I'm randomly, I'm like, hey, Mom, let's go get some breakfast. We go to McDonald's.
Yeah.
It's like 10:30 in the morning. I get a call from Fuse, and I missed the call. Like as I'm checking my phone, the call goes to voicemail, and I'm like, something's going on. Fuse just doesn't call me at 10:30 in the morning.
Right.
We're good friends, but he just doesn't randomly call me at 10:30 in the morning.
Right.
So I call him back instantly, and he's like, hey, bro, like, that there was a lot of moving parts.
Right.
DJ Leslie was on the cruise show.
Yeah.
She had just left
the
cruise show.
Right.
So that was going on. Fuse was announced to take over the show.
Right.
So Fuse calls me, And he's like, hey, bro, this is probably a lot to take in right now, but there's an opening for Big Boy's Neighborhood, and they asked me to do it, but I've already committed to Cruise Show, so they asked me if I knew anybody. And I thought of you. And
it's incredible.
He's like, but I wanted to call you first and just make sure. He's like, I know you want this, but I just want to make sure before I throw your name in the hat that you can commit to it and do it.
Yeah.
I was like, bro, no questions asked. Yes, like, of course. So he's like, okay, cool, perfect. So, we hang up, and he shoots me a text, and he's like, I'm going to put you in contact with the producer of the show. Yeah. So he puts us in through text, and, he's like, hey, this is Quest, hit him up. Yeah. And I'd like respond just like, hey, thank you for the opportunity, like whatever. I don't get a text back. And now, I get anxious, and I'm like,
right. You're like,
what's going on? So I don't get a text back until maybe like 3:00. So I've waited like 4 or 5 hours now. So finally get a text, and he was like, yo, can you talk? So he called me, kind of did like a quick little over the phone interview. You have to keep in mind, this is one of the biggest shows in the country. So they have to fill this quick. They have to figure out what's going on. Yeah. So we do a quick little like on the phone interview. He asks me what I do, and I tell him, and he's like, okay, cool. Send me some samples of your work. So I sent him like a on-air mix that I recorded for KGI. I sent him a new and notable routine. I sent him a globalization mix.
How'd you pick which ones to send?
So funny
You're
enough,
probably like scrutinizing, like, bro, just send this one or this one.
So usually for globalization, I play more of a high energy set, like more up tempo EDM. Yeah, that's not what Real 92.3 plays at all.
It's a hip hop station, straight up.
I release mixes monthly on Mixcloud. Right. I release whatever set I felt was like my favorite for the month. Right. I'll release it. The mix, I had just posted that mix that morning. The mix that I posted, I decided to do all hip hop.
Oh wow.
Which I never do that. So I sent him that mix, and he calls me back like, I think it was like an hour later, and he's all like, hey, can you come into the studio tomorrow? I was like, hell yeah, I can come into the studio tomorrow. So I go in, super nervous. I'm like, what's going on? So, and I go into his office, and we're chatting. He's getting to know me, and at the time, Big Boy was interviewing. I think it was like a comedian or something. So I'm waiting for them to be finished, and then then they come in. Big comes in. We meet, and he's just filling me out. Right. I brought my bag with me. I was like, just in case. Yeah. Bringing my gear.
Stay ready.
So he asked, he's like, do you have your stuff with you? I was like, I do. And he's like, all right, cool. Come over here. So I go into the mix room, and we kind of did like an improv, on air set. The neighborhood was still there. So, they pretended to be on air, and I had to just pick it up without them telling me, hey, we're going to do this, and this. Right. I just had to kind of like pick it up. And
like, what'd you play? What'd you even put on?
So in my mind, because I didn't really listen to the radio, in my mind I was like, okay, I know some of these songs are the biggest songs right now. I was still at KGI, so I based my list off of theirs a little bit. Yeah. So I just picked like 5 or 6 songs that I knew were gonna be like a safe place. Right. And I just like let them ride as much as I could, because they were very like, we're not gonna tell you what to do. You're just gonna have to pick it up. So I would let like 2 verses of a song ride, and then they'll be like, oh, hey, we're gonna talk here. And then just, give them the instrumental, and thankfully it all worked out. That's I was amazing. Super nervous.
I'm sure.
And not only that, there's like a mixing board inside the mix room. We have to switch, because Big Boy's Neighborhood they have a separate studio. Okay. So we have to switch to their studio. I didn't know how to run that at the time. Right. So like the audio super low. I'm mixing through my headphones. I can't even cue because all the audio is coming to my headphones, like the master audio. So I'm struggling. My needles are bouncing all over the place. I'm like, oh my God, this could not happen at a worse time. But thankfully, I managed to get through it, and it all worked out.
It's almost like maybe they saw you dealing with so many crazy things, and they're keep handling it.
Yeah, man. But thankfully, it all worked out. They liked what I did, and then they were like, okay, cool, we'll let you know.
Wow. And then you just leave. Like,
yeah.
I can't believe that just happened.
Yeah. And like for like a week, I think it was a week or two, I was just kind of, okay, what's going on?
Yeah.
I didn't know what was going to happen.
Right. Who was DJing?
And then the producer, he hit me up and he's all like, hey, just be ready on this day. And then I was like, so does that mean that I'm getting the position? And he didn't tell me. So, but then finally they were like, yeah, you're on. Come by. Like, you have to be here Monday at 6:30 in the morning and ready to go.
So you're there at 6:30 and you're on at 7.
Yeah.
Like first song.
Yeah. Just thrown into the fire. Like,
how do you pick the first song at 7? Like, do they pick it or do you pick it?
Honestly, now I'll just pick
like the new Tyga or whatever. Like
I usually go for like a throwback, because we start right before the phone.
You're allowed to have throwbacks, like you can play Ludacris from 20 years ago.
Oh yeah,
the East Siders or something.
Exactly. Yeah, we play like California Love,
exactly.
Like all that.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'll pick kind of like not in a disrespectful way, but like a kind of like a throwaway song, because I like to. Yeah. I appreciate my time on air. I like to cut it up. I like to, do certain things. So I'll pick a song that I know that I don't work a lot with. And then, then we go into like the next segment. And then from there, I start basing my mix off of the list and just start programming the mix.
Right. Oh man, it's a lot of pressure, like the fact that you can handle it so well is
not only that, just it all happened so fast.
Yeah.
It wasn't like hey, this is going on, like, let's work at it, let's take some time. And no, I didn't even know if it was going to be official until like the Thursday before I was supposed to be on Monday.
It's crazy.
So I went out, I bought a new laptop separate for just the station, because I didn't want to risk a crash or playing a dirty edit.
Right.
Nothing. I wanted to make sure I was.
So you bought a new laptop and then restarted from scratch the crates. So this is literally your radio and everything.
I only have the music for the radio. I don't have anything else.
So if you go DJ a club on Friday night,
I would not take that laptop.
You have a different laptop.
I have like my main laptop, and then the laptop I bought is specifically for radio.
What is it, a MacBook Pro?
It's a MacBook Air.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's what I was wondering. I'm like, you could probably just do a dope Air.
No, yeah, I did an Air with the M1
and it works
chip.
Perfectly.
Perfect. Yeah, I did like the most research I could with the time that I had.
Right.
And
so the M1 MacBook Air. Of course, they just came out the M2 now, but I don't know if that worked. Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Oh man.
They go and then yesterday I just bought this iPad, and then they just came out with the new iPad. I was like, what? And then it comes with all this extra stuff. I'm like, yo, what? Can I take this back? I got it like 2 months ago.
That's how it is. I just got this watch, and then I think like the next month they announced the new series.
I know. That's the one thing I've had forever is this watch. My son's like, you got the oldest watch ever for Apple. I'm like, yeah, I'm making it work. Saving money for your shoes and stuff. No. Yeah. Oh, wow. What an incredible story. I mean, I just think that there's this running theme of like the 130 episodes we've done in the 3 years of people that stay ready and practice for things and take advantage of opportunities, and don't second guess things, and just they're there for the opportunity and they show up. It's like literally showing up is the key to so many things. Like of all the successful people on these episodes is like, you got to be ready to show up and, and do things for the right reasons and practice and do all that. But when you get those opportunities, jump at it and do it, because any little hesitation, it could go away.
I think that's literally the story of my DJ career.
It's what it sounds
like. Because the jump off mix, somebody didn't turn in their mix. Right. So that's why I got the opportunity.
Right.
The slot for KGI, like the guest mix, somebody didn't turn in a mix. That's why I got the opportunity.
Exactly. And even the Dave Buster's, you put yourself out there. You're like, sure, I'll enter this Dave and Buster's DJ competition that probably other people are like, fuck that, I'm not doing that. You know, you end up doing that. The person's there that randomly, you know, it all like, and even the fuse thing. Okay, I'm going to tweet, or bringing your bag to Big Boy, or, you know, all of it. Just staying ready, I think, is just so important. And also, just as cliche as it sounds, like getting a goal in your head and manifesting it, you know, like manifesting the opportunity and manifesting it happening. Like you set your sights on something, a dream, and you achieved it. And you even said it before. You're like, I wanted to be on the jump off mix. I achieved that. Then I did this. And, you know, a lot of people ask me like, oh, what advice do you have for me to get to the next level, or to DJ and do this or do that? And I'm like, I think you're thinking too broad. It's good to have goals that are, you know, you can set like specifically, and then you can keep attacking the rest of the goals after that. But just focusing in on what you want to do and who you want to be, you know, and it seems like you really have done that.
Yeah, thankfully.
Yeah.
Thankfully,
so
I've had the right opportunities present themselves, and I've, like you said, just being ready. That's half the battle.
Right. And so beyond, you know, the radio stuff, I know you do music production. That's like a passion of yours and something you work on a lot, right?
Yeah.
And so is that something that you've done things with up to this point, or do you have some goals to do some stuff with that in the future?
Yeah, I actually, one of my biggest, like you said, I actually really pace myself with my goals.
It seems like it. I think that's smart. A lot of people want everything, especially nowadays, everything right away, you know, or they just want everything. And you're like, yo, you know, you could have anything, but you can't have everything. It's like kind of like.
You got to work towards it.
Yeah.
Right now, my goal with production is I want to play a festival. And
so you do those EDC mixes that are like EDM when EDC comes around.
I have a series,
and it's like your own style. Like you're taking like, you know, you stay on my mind, think about, you know, you're scratching that a cappella over it, and it sounds dope, and you're bringing your style into those songs.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm just like, I fell out of love with EDM for a really long time. Mm-hmm. When I first started DJing, I was in love with it,
right?
And actually, one of the people I look up to is Dioro.
Oh,
I used to listen to, at the time, his artist name was Tonic. His DJ name was Tonic.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so back in like 2010, 2011, I used to listen to his stuff.
Yeah.
He would like go on live streams like on Justin TV. I think that's Twitch now, right?
Yeah, Justin TV.
Yeah, so he would go on there, and we would like chat it up with him. And
wow.
And I like really liked his style of production. I don't know why.
Yeah.
It was just dope to me. And then just like, you know, like I said, I kind of fell back into like the hip hop, and I fell out of the EDM scene for a few years. And then one year, I think it was 2017, that was the first year I did the EDC mix, the first one that I started up.
Yeah.
I was like, man, I wonder if this is like hitting right now in the clubs. And so I went in and I did a little bit of research, and it happened to be EDC weekend, so I was like, oh, okay, let me download some songs, and so I put out that mix.
Right.
And then I started playing EDM at my gigs, and at the time, EDM wasn't really like a thing in the clubs. It was more, you know, hip hop. It was, I think like Drake was hitting really hard at the time.
Yeah.
So I just started playing EDM, and the crowd liked it.
Right.
And you know how it is, like, people like now on Twitter, there's so many arguments about what not to play, what doesn't work, what does work.
I don't listen to that.
Yeah, me neither. And at the time, like, that was the thing. Like, EDM wasn't in.
Right.
And it worked for me.
Yeah.
So I actually produced a little bit back in like 2011, 2012.
Oh, okay.
And I couldn't stick with it. I was using Reason at the time.
Yeah. And
I think that's maybe why I stopped, because I couldn't really learn the program. I felt like it just wasn't for me. So then, you know, fast forward, I fall in love again with EDM. I'm listening to it consistently, and then 2020 hits, the pandemic.
Yeah.
So at the time, I'm caregiving, and I have a lot of downtime. So I see that Ableton has like a 90-day trial because of COVID. They're like, instead of 30 days, we're doing 90 days.
Okay.
So I was like, I think this is the time to maybe do something with that.
Yeah.
So I downloaded the trial. I messed around with a remix, and it actually wasn't bad. And then I was like, okay, like I actually enjoyed that.
Right.
So I started, because I would still make edits on a different program, but it's not the same. Like just making a little like acapella edit or something like that. So just little by little during the pandemic, I started like getting addicted to production and learning, like what key goes with, the keys and this and that, and what acapella works with this. And one of the things that I did that's now it's a big deal, but I think it was Agua by J Balvin.
Yeah.
And Tiny. So I took that acapella, and I used to dig through like EDM blog sites, and I don't like to play the same stuff that other people play.
Right.
And I know a lot of DJs aren't going to dig that far deep into like a blog. So I found this track, like a house track, tech house, and I just made this edit.
Right.
And I didn't think anything of it. I was like, oh, it's a reggaeton with house. Like, it sounds dope to me, so I'm going to do it. I did it, and I get a message on Instagram, and it's a picture, and it's Diplo's Revolution.
Oh, yeah.
And my edit's being played on there. And I was like...
Just not even by a DJ, just like on the station.
It's on rotation.
Right.
I was like, what the hell? I freaked out. I was like, there's no way. Like, this is Diplo. Diplo is Diplo. He's a legend.
Right. Yeah.
So I kind of freak out. I texted like Phenom, Danny, Eddie, and everybody's like, this is super dope.
Yeah.
So then, Diplo's playing it in his sets, and that motivated me even more. And that was just an edit. That wasn't even like,
But it was still your musical idea.
Yeah. So I'm keeping at it, and then Bad Bunny drops Dakiti.
Yeah.
So that weekend, when he dropped Dakiti, I do the new notable. So I had the list that was on the list.
Yeah.
I went to Mexico. I usually always take my laptop with me everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
For some reason, I didn't take my laptop with me. All I could think about that weekend was that melody.
Right.
That melody was stuck in my head all weekend.
Right.
As soon as I got home, I started working on a remix. Not an edit. I did a remix.
Like a real remix.
Yeah, and I finished it maybe like 3 days, 2-3 days.
Wow.
Same thing.
Yeah. Crazy.
It's on Diplo's Revolution.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
On rotation. And this it's different because now it's my production.
And where'd you put it, on DJcity, or how did they get it?
Yeah,
okay.
It went up on DJcity, and mind you, this was the biggest song at the time, so there was like a million remixes and I know on DJcity there was
still a big song.
There was quite a few remixes.
Yeah.
I put it out like on YouTube and SoundCloud and stuff like that. So yeah, it gets played on Diplo's Revolution. Crazy. On rotation, and then he's playing it in his mix on the records mix that he has. Yeah. And time goes by this is 2020. Yeah. Okay. So the world's still
mid-pandemic.
The world's still closed.
Yeah.
So the next year, like you said, the song's still big. He starts playing it like live. I think the first time that I saw it, it was like at a Excess.
Diplo was dropping it.
Diplo's playing it live, in his sets. He played it like at Excess, and I was like, "That's super dope. That's cool."
Yeah.
I was like, "Imagine if you played it at a festival."
Right.
So he plays it at a festival. It's somewhere in the Midwest. I don't remember where it was. I was in Texas at the time, and I was with the homie Jay Savez. Shout out Jay Savez. And I was like, bro, we had just gotten done doing a gig. Yeah. And I'm like, Diplo just played my remix at this festival. And it wasn't streamed or anything. So I had I went and
how did you know?
I looked through the hashtags. I looked through people through his account, to see if he reposted people. I found somebody that recorded it. Nice. So I have the video. Yeah, it was super dope. And I was like, man, this is awesome.
Crazy.
So then time passes on. I'm still doing production, you know.
Yeah.
But then EDC comes around. They postponed it from May into October last year, 2021.
Yeah.
So I was watching it live. I watched a few sets, and then I'm watching Diplo, and he hits my remix.
Oh my God.
At EDC.
Crazy.
Nuts.
Such a dope feeling.
I teared up. I was like, this is crazy. Because, like, you know, I didn't produce forever. I had literally just started producing. I started producing in, like, May of 2020.
Yeah.
I made that remix in October of 2020.
Right.
So it had only been, like, 5-6 months.
Yeah.
What are the odds of that?
Crazy.
Just, like I said, it's just I wanted it. I wanted to be good at it. And... yeah, man, there's such a dope feeling.
I need to hear that remix. I don't know if I have it. I gotta peep it. That's super dope. So basically you've played at these things through Diplo, and now you just have to get to the point where you're gonna put your music out and then play there. So yeah, what's next for the production stuff? Like, what are you working on that front?
So for a little bit, so when I got onto Big Boy's Neighborhood, I kind of took a step back from it because I was like, I need to focus on this. Now that I'm adjusted, I've gotten back into it. And I'm really, everybody's like falling into the tech house,
right?
You know, and I'm more of a, like I said, I don't want to play. I mean, of course I'll play.
You want to be different.
But I want to stand out a little bit. So now my production, I'm trying to go back to more like the Melbourne bounce, like Dioro sound.
Yeah.
Because I love that sound. I grew up in my DJ career loving Dioro before he was Dioro.
Yeah.
So I take inspiration from that, and now I'm just continuing to make remixes and not so many edits anymore. I'm more like we just did a Halloween drop, and I did a Goosebumps remix. I did like a Moombaton.
For Big Boys?
For DJcity.
Oh, for DJcity,
yeah. So I'm trying to stay busy on that front.
Right.
Consistency is key.
Right. Yeah, so what's your deal with DJcity? You basically do edits and remixes and put them up there. You do the new and notable mix. Yeah. Is that kind of your main roles there?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Dope. And do you have a certain amount of remixes or edits that you put up there, or just send it to them whenever?
Before I joined the show, because like, you know, we have like our meetings and all that.
Yeah.
I can't attend those meetings anymore.
Right.
Unfortunately, because we have those meetings during the time that I'm on air.
Oh, right.
So now it's just more of I'll make something and I'll send it in.
Yeah.
And if it gets approved, it gets approved.
Right. Part of the fam. We were saying it's how it's so dope. So many people from the DJcity family are now in like big positions in radio, like killing it.
Taking over.
Yeah. Love it. DJcity, baby. Beatsource. Crazy. Oh man. And do you have like a long commute? Like, where do you, because you have to come to the station every day, right?
So I live in Orange County.
You live in Orange County?
Yeah, and I have to drive to
Burbank.
Where's the state?
I was going to say it's in Burbank.
It's in Burbank, yeah. So I have...
Oh, my God.
So without traffic, it's like a 45-minute commute.
Got to sleep in the cars. Yeah, without traffic, 45 minutes. But with traffic, it's like 2 hours.
It like... Thankfully, like that's when traffic's barely starting up.
Yeah, but it's early, right?
But so it's crazy to think that like I leave my house at 5:30 and I'm already catching traffic.
Oh, it's crazy.
Yeah,
and I guess at least you're off at 11, so it's that good in between time you kind of avoid. But
it's not too bad. But it's still like, come on,
right?
It's too early for this.
Would you ever move?
I don't think so.
Yeah, you're settled.
I feel like I would have been a little more intimidated, but Louis also actually lives in the OC.
Oh, so that
kind of if he could do it, I'm like I could do it.
Right.
So
yeah. I mean, it gives you some time to relax, listen to, I don't know, not listen to things or listen to things.
No, you'd be surprised because one of the things that I love to do is I like to record my DJ sets.
Okay.
Like when I'm at a club or a bar or wherever.
Yeah, me too. And then listen
I record.
Back.
It doesn't matter where I'm at. I try to record it and then I listen back. And
it helps so much because you don't realize when you're in the moment or you're queuing up something else. Later, I hear it back and I go, oh, I should have done that, or I could have cut it there. I should have done this.
Or I could have played this song that I didn't play all night. Yeah. Like, you know, when you get home.
But your brain the next day can like come up with it rather than in the heat of the moment.
Exactly. Yeah. So I take that commute as like a learning time, learning time.
Totally.
I can listen to my mixes, or whenever I record, like for Global, I'll listen to those mixes and just make sure that everything's good.
Yeah. Oh, that's yeah. Sometimes I don't mind, having a commute like that, but every day it is. It does sound crazy.
It is, but at the same time, it's like, say I wake up tired and I'm like, man, gotta go.
But it gives you that time to wake up.
Yeah, yes and no. Because, I don't drink coffee, so sometimes I'm like falling in and out of sleep. But when I get there, it's such a positive atmosphere that it's like you instantly wake up, you're having fun, and then when you leave, I leave on such like a happy high.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's so cool. I didn't think about that. I mean, Big Boy himself is such an amazing, massive force, to be reckoned with, of just, and like you said, positive energy and positivity and inspiration and fun and music and all of that, right? He radiates it.
He just makes you want to be better. He makes you want to, he's such a positive person that it rubs off on you.
Right.
And you just you carry it with you, and it's such a dope feeling. It doesn't even, this isn't work to me.
Right.
You know what I mean? I feel like the commute is more work than me being there DJing.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Like the programming, all that. It can be tough,
right?
But at the same time, it's so easy. It's super dope.
That's amazing. Well, dope, man. Thank you for coming on the show.
Appreciate you, bro.
Yeah. Is there any, do you have any other things you want to discuss? Or if not, you got any last words for the DJs out there listening that I'm sure are inspired by you?
Man, one of the things that, and I used to be the same way. I used to hit up Fuse. I looked up to Fuse
any words of
so
advice?
Much.
I
used to hit up Fuse and be like, hey, bro, how can I do this? How can I get a gig here? How can I? And honestly, one of the biggest mistakes that I would make at the time, because at the time I was 19, 20 years old.
Yeah.
I would, kind of see, I would be like, why don't I have that? But then these older, they were older cats, Chris Villa is another one that I really I've loved his work, his cuts, his everything. And I would be like, man, why can't I be like that? Or why can't? And then I didn't realize at the time that the age difference, that they've already put in the work. They've already, gone through what I was currently going through.
Yes.
The one thing that people ask me is how do you do it? How do you get on here? How do you learn how to cut? People hit me up and they'll be, cause I like to post scratch videos.
Yeah.
So, people will hit me up directly and they'll be like, hey, how did you do that cut? And I always remember the people that took time to show me things, or so if I can, I'll try to record a video and respond back to them and be like, hey, this is how you break it down or whatever. But the one thing is you can't rush this.
Yeah.
You have to I know it sucks. There was so many times where I wanted to quit.
Yeah.
Where I was like, man, this isn't gonna pan out.
Right.
And I knew that I was a good DJ, and I was like, but I'm not getting booked anywhere. I'm not, but you just can't rush it. When it's your time, you'll know.
It's so true. Those are the wisest words and the truest words, and that have applied to my career as well as every other successful DJ I know.
Yeah. You just have to be patient and stay ready.
Yeah.
Because that's exactly, I was like that for a long time. Yeah, I was on KGGI, but I wasn't really doing much outside of that.
Right.
Everything kind of piled up once I, I came here to join DJcity.
Yeah.
And then that's how the Globalization opportunity presented itself. I was here.
Right.
You know what I mean? DJ Drew was coming off of a slot. I happened to be in the hallway.
Oh, crazy.
And it just passed up to me.
Right.
You just have to be ready. They were. I think it was a Tuesday, and they were like, "Can you have a mix by tomorrow?" I was like, "I'll have a mix tonight."
Right. And that just shows, though, the fact that you have the ability to even say, "Yes, I'll have a mix by tonight," confidently and do it. You had put in all that work to get to that point, and that's the thing, is that the people that want the instant thing, okay, they got that instant opportunity, but if you're not ready for it, then you just kind of look stupid or you blow the opportunity.
Yeah, and I think you know, when you're younger or when you're just starting up, I feel like, you know, I understand you want it. You want to be big. You want to headline shows, but because I was that kid, I wanted to like rush everything. I wanted to be on top of the world. I don't think I would have been ready back then when I wanted it.
I agree.
Like now, the timing of this, I feel like it's all perfect.
Yeah. And
it's what I'm DJing 12 years now. Like, and I still don't feel like I've put in enough work.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Of course.
But I feel like just the being patient but persistent and motivated. You have to always want to be better at your craft, whether, you know, it's production, DJing, scratching, mixing, whatever.
Yeah.
You just have to put in the work and just be patient.
Yeah.
The time will come, you know, opportunities open up. Look at me. That's why I said I never once when I was younger thought I want to be on Big Boy's Neighborhood. Right. Because why would that opportunity ever present itself?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Like you said, you know, people take those jobs to their graves. It's crazy. Right. Radio. Like people love it so much. You know, you just always have to be prepared and just don't give up.
Right.
That's really, I know it sounds cliche.
No, that's a question I ask people sometimes. Like, has there been a time where you felt like you were going to quit, you know, and then you came back from it? Because that's happened to me too. And you already just mentioned it. So it's like, don't give up. If you have something, your goal in mind, and you feel like you can work towards it, keep pushing. Always.
There will always be an opportunity. Yeah. There's enough for all of us to eat in this industry, even though I know it seems like it's an oversaturated and there's a bunch of DJs here. And
no, there's incredible. The amount I've learned through this podcast of the amount of working DJs that are doing so many things that I didn't even realize. It's amazing.
The other thing too is be helpful. Like be kind, you know, because like when I was coming up and even now, like, you know, there's a lot of just negativity and like people like gatekeeping, you know, gigs. And, you know, it's just like, man, I thank God for Fuse. Fuse, not like he's the dopest DJ I know, but he's an even better human being. If it wasn't for him, I probably wouldn't be DJing right now.
Right.
And
that's amazing.
And him alone, like it makes me want to help other DJs.
Right.
That's why like when a DJ hits me up and they're like, hey, how do you do this scratch routine? Like, what's it going to take for me to record a 30-second video and help them out?
Yeah.
Like,
same. I try to reply to everybody and talk, you know, like, I can't believe you're writing back. I'm like, I mean, we're all just here to help each other, and you never know who's who and what's going to happen, you know? So.
At the end of the day, we're one big, like, family.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, we all have to watch each other's backs. Look what happened during COVID.
Right.
When everything shut down, we got screwed. Like, we were the first ones to lose work, and who looked out for who?
Right.
You know DJs. What I mean? Like,
Amen.
It was just,
shout to Amen.
Yeah, man. Shout out to Amen. Like, yeah, exactly. I remember actually Amen, they did like a little campaign.
A whole fund for DJs, and he was right there right away.
Yeah, man.
And there's people like that. You know what I mean? Like
that's how
Fuse, Amen. People that you're associated with, you know, that now, like good people that are also dope DJs.
That's how it should be.
Yeah.
It should be, of course, like, you know, you're not gonna get anything handed to you, but like
but it's just, like what you're saying. Yeah.
Just be kind, be helpful. Like even just like some advice or and it goes a long way. Yeah. It goes such a long way.
Yeah. Yeah, and you never know who's looking up to you and being inspired by you the way you were with Blakey's videos and with you know, other people that you mentioned. Like it's you never know what you're putting out into the world, how that's inspiring or affecting someone else too on the other end of the screen or
because that's how I was, you know, like listening to like Chris V. He lives in Arizona. Yeah. And, you know, I'm listening to him. I'm listening to, you know, like Jay Espinoza. He lives in the Bay. They don't live around me. They're not, you know what I mean? But it's still so, it inspired me to push and be better. And that's why, you know, I try my best to help other DJs. Yeah. Because I know that feeling. I know that feeling of like, I want to be like these guys. How can I be like these guys?
Right. Yeah, and then sometimes you meet those other DJs that you know have the thing. They're just not there yet, but they have that right mindset and the passion and the work ethic and the patience. I think all that. Got to have that. The impatient thing is a thing it can get people.
Yeah, but it's all worth it in the end.
Yeah.
Like this dream it's beautiful, and we get paid money to spin records,
right?
And just like, come on,
yeah, and
to party,
and like do things that we were doing in our
like
house,
just party it up and like
search for music that we like and want to share with other people.
And honestly, like I feel that there's no high like playing for a crowd and just like being a puppet master,
right?
You know what I mean? Like just having full control of a crowd, and it's so dope. Yeah, so dope. It's not worth giving up.
Yeah,
not worth it.
I know. I saw Shaq on a podcast, and he was like, "Want to know why I DJ?" He's like, "It's the closest thing I can do that comes close to the same feeling as Game 7." You know, yeah. And you're like, "Wow!" For him to say that, that's nuts.
So funny enough, I grew up loving wrestling.
Okay.
I loved wrestling.
Yeah.
And I never understood that feeling, like when wrestlers would, like when they would actually open up and not be like their character and be like, I love this. There's no better feeling. Like The Rock says it all the time. Like there's no better feeling about like than being in the ring and the fans chanting your name and da-da-da-da.
Right.
Like I never understood that until I started DJing.
Right.
Like that feeling is just different to have a crowd that whatever you're doing, they're following you.
Right. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and you're speaking through music to each other in a way, and speaking through the energy in the room and stuff.
You get to change people's moods.
Yeah.
You get to...
And create memories forever for them, That's what, like, music... I was talking to someone recently saying about music, food, chefs, DJs, even actors and entertainment things, Yes, people can say it's trivial, but really you're creating these memories for people forever.
Yeah.
And, like... all these special moments.
Think about like weddings.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
forever.
The DJ does something dope. Like what is it, Nick Spinelli?
Yeah.
Right? He's killing it.
Yeah.
And like he does such dope he does dope routines that I'm sure people go home and they're like, man, that was crazy.
Right.
And they remember that
almost
forever.
Helping to advance like DJing culture within weddings where DJing culture had died off in a way.
Yeah. DJing is beautiful.
Yeah.
And we should all help each other.
Yes.
Not tear each other down.
Yes, I agree. Totally. Well, that's a good point to end on, I guess. Yeah, so, man. DJ Kwest, thank you for coming on the podcast.
Thank you for having me, brother. I appreciate it.
I'll tune in I'll try to wake up tomorrow.
You're not waking
Taking my kid to school.
You'll tune in for like the 20-minute ride and then
I'll be like, snooze. I'm going back to sleep, texting you. Don't shout me out. I won't hear it. No. Well, thank you for coming on. Congrats on everything. Keep pushing. Can't wait to have you on again in a few years and hear about you playing at the festival, your own remixes. I can see, after interviewing you now, I can see the whole vision and the whole, growth of DJ Kwest. So it's only the beginning, man.
Yeah, man. No giving up here. I'm shooting for it. So
dope. Love to hear it. All right. Let's see you soon. Peace. All right. Thank you to DJ Kwest for coming on. I know you're tired, so you go take a nap right now. But congrats on everything. So much fun getting to talk to you and get to know you better and hearing about all the stuff that you've done thus far in your short 28-year life. So I'm sure you're going to do a lot more. So always great having the young guns that are killing it come on the show.